Hello everyone, welcome to the final episode of the Hockey Valley Report for the fall semester. I'm Steve Penstone.
And I'm Rodney Martin. In this episode, we're going to take a look back at the first semester for both the men's and women's hockey teams. Scott Perloff is going to take you on a tour of what we affectionately call the Berg, otherwise known as the Greenberg Ice Pavilion. And later on in the show, we'll be joined by Director of Hockey Operations, Billy Downey, and Associate Athletic Director for Hockey Stuff, as we affectionately call him, Joe Battista.
Well, the weeks since the Thanksgiving break have been good and bad for the Penn State hockey teams. The number one ranked Icers experiencing their second loss of the season against Liberty University. This coming one weekend after they poured 22 goals into the net against Rutgers to start December.
And the Lady Icers went on to visit the University of Rhode Island Rams, coming close in two contests, but ultimately falling by scores of 2 and 3-1 on Friday and Saturday, respectively. They had come home to a home-and-home to close out the semester with NCAA Division III Newman University, a school that the Icers are going to be facing here later on, and we'll have more of that later on in the show. But right now, we're going to take you to a very special edition of Perloff's Pointers. So far this season, we've been kind of focusing on ice with some of the players.
Now in this episode, we're going to spend some time off the ice around the Berg and show you what takes place behind the scenes that makes the Icers season so successful.
So now we're going to send it to Scott at the Penn State Ice Rink, where we'll meet Icers equipment manager Jimmy Shaughnessy and go for a ride on the Zamboni and sit down with an ice rink VIP.
On this week's edition of Perloff's Pointers, we're going to take you off the ice, talk to the rink manager Chris Whittemore about game day operations for Icers games, and then I'm going to speak with the Icers equipment manager Jimmy about sharpening skates, some behind the scenes stuff, and I'll even take a ride on the Zamboni and see how that goes. I'm at the Greenberg Ice Pavilion with Icers equipment manager Jimmy Shaughnessy. Now, can you take us through a typical game day? What time do you get here for the start of the game, and what's the first thing you do?
Usually for a 7 o'clock game day on Friday nights, I'll be here at about 4:30. I try to come at least 2.5 hours early before a game.
Okay.
The first thing I'll do is I'll go in our back room. I'll take all the jerseys, socks, and towels, hang a set by everybody's stall where all their equipment is hanging. I'm going to take you back there right now and show you how it's all set up and organized.
Okay, great.
After that, we usually go and set up the port equip, which has all our tools in it, our tape, and we'll take out that, set it up,
Okay.
have it ready for the guys to just come in and do. But in here you'll see, this is our storage area.
It's fancy.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the locker with all the jerseys, the socks,
Yes, this is
water bottles.
This is our main storage area.
Okay.
We have our away socks, our home socks, all our towels ready for road trips. We have our home jerseys and our away jerseys.
Okay.
Also in here too, we have all our practice jerseys and socks as well. Each day for practice, Monday through Thursday, I'll come in about 2 hours before practice, lay out all their jerseys and socks as well.
It's kind of like the same as game day.
Pretty much same as game
Same
day.
procedures.
Game day is a little bit more formal.
Okay.
With socks, it's more grab whatever color you are. Fold jerseys, or my assistant will fold jerseys as well, and just lay it out for the guys.
Okay.
But for when it comes to game days, each guy has their own stall. I'll hang their jersey, a pair of socks over it, and a towel underneath. All right, so now I'll take you into the Icers locker room.
This is where the magic happens, huh?
This is where everything happens. We're missing some equipment right now because some of the guys just left the break, so they bagged up their stuff and took it home. I've set up an example of what it is doing, guys. Each one of the guys has their number up top and shows where their equipment is. I'll come in, I'll set up their jersey, a pair of socks for them, and a towel right underneath the stall. Just so it's nice, has somewhat of a home feeling, and really shows the professional way that we have here.
Okay, great. Typical game day, I understand as the equipment manager, you also are fixing equipment. Is there a lot of that goes on during the games? Is there, some days are just more than others, or?
Yeah, a lot of times it'll be on the fly. There's no real. sometimes we'll have a few equipment maintenance with, stitching up a shoulder pad or something like that.
Okay.
But sometimes during the game, guys will break the steel, which is the actual blade of the skate.
Okay.
And with that, they'll have to sit on the bench. I'll have to run as fast as I can to skate sharpening room, swap out the steel, cut it, give it back to them so they can get back on the ice.
So sometimes a team is only as good as their equipment manager.
Essentially, if you don't have one, you're not going to skate well.
All right, well, thank you. Now that we're done here, why don't we take one of the players' skates and see if we can practice sharpening them?
Sure. Well, I'll just take Eric's 9-hour skate right here. Yeah, he could always use a sharpening. Now I'll teach you how to sharpen a skate.
Here goes nothing. So I guess you walk me through it, and then maybe I'll take a stab at it and try and see if I don't hurt myself.
Okay. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is you want to turn the light on, turn the exhaust fan on, and you're going to take your station off. Now, your first step in this is you want to place the skate down and take our holder, get it into place in the middle of the skate, tighten the top part up, pull this on. Now the skate's in place. Now what we do is, for the first step, is that we want to have the center of the wheel in the center of the steel.
Okay.
Where do we do that? Alright, so the first step is you want to have the center of the wheel in the center of the steel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just touch each side and see where I have to make adjustments. As you can see, the front part is actually perfect. The back part can just go up a little bit more. Touch it again, and it's right in place. Now what you want to do is, there's two ways to do it. You can either do a forward and backward method, but for beginners like yourself, you're just going to want to go one way.
Okay.
So what you want to start doing is, you want to come in towards like a 45-degree angle and use the middle of the stone. You're just going to take pass like that. You'll start to see how there's a perfect line that goes straight down the middle.
Perfect. Emphasis on perfect.
And what you want to do from here is you want to make about 7 to 12 passes, depending on how sharp a player you want it, or how much the skate really gets done. This could definitely use a good 7 to 10 passes, so I'll do that.
Why don't you do the first few, and then I'll try and finish it off.
Sure. Alright, you're up to bat.
Here goes nothing.
And make sure when you know that you want to keep a steady speed, you don't want to push down too hard on it because you could burn the steel and essentially bend it. Okay. Do it one more time.
Let's check this out. I feel like Jaromir Jagr might be able to skate with these blades. What do you think, Jimmy?
I'm actually very impressed. I think you could take over my job soon.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure having you tour us and explain your duties. We are going to meet with the general manager, Chris Whittemore, and have a few words with him about his game day operations. So for an Icers game day, what time do you usually show up, and what are some of the I can't talk.
You know what? You should probably say rink manager Chris Whittemore.
I'll say as the rink manager. I can
Yeah, you
just
can do
intro
that.
like
We'll throw it down there.
So as the rink manager of the ice rink, what are your game days like? You know, what time do you come in? What do you guys do here?
Basically, I mean, I'll come in between 10 and 11 o'clock each day, or each game day. It's sort of like my normal schedule.
Okay.
But, basically what we try to do is get the building ready for the games. We got to get the booster club stuff out, get to set the press box, we have to get the game nets ready, get the concession stand set to go, getting all the ropes out so we're getting people through properly in an efficient way. Get the ticket booth set up. Now we have the upper doors and the 3 doors out back that we have to take care of too for people coming in. So we're gonna have ticket sales up there as well and ropes up there to get people in. We also have these big lights we had to put out and we have to rent every game now. So there's quite quite a few things to do. The staff, again, they do a very good job in setting it up. So basically that's the sort of the setup part of it. The actual game day, this year is a little bit different since the Friday night game is at 7 o'clock and we have a public session before it. The Saturday game is the same. So, the public session runs before the Saturday game. That's, we have a quick changeover. We have to get all these people out. When we do have a heavy public session and we get all the people in. So really it's, a lot of planning, but it seems kind of seamless when we're doing it for the Saturday games. For the Friday games now, it's just making sure, I have a couple practices beforehand, making sure the teams have their lockers when they get here. But during the actual game, it's just troubleshooting. Going around, talking to our customers, talking to the fans, troubleshooting things like in glass breaks or there's spills or anything like that. It's just I really don't get to see a lot of the game. I'll get a minute here, a minute there, but because mostly it's just making sure the building is operating and things are going smooth. So that's the big thing.
Now, when the Icers are going to be going to Division I NCAA, do you foresee any changes in your game day operations? Do you think anything's
to a
going to be
point,
different?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the NCAA does have this rule where, we're actually trying to get clarification on this rule, where there has to be at least a 60-minute spot before the game where there's nothing on the ice. I talked to some arenas that have Division I programs, and it varies. So it could be a league thing as well, where it kind of differs. But there's going to be a gap of time before the Friday and Saturday night games now. So we're going to have set up at that point. We're still going to probably go through the same procedure of setting up, making sure everything, the press box. Don't know about the Booster Club yet. This still has to be figured out. The Booster Club room, so things are going to be a little bit different on that end of things. But basically it's still the same thing. It's a hockey game, and we're going to be doing the same sort of things of the concession stand, of the net movers and the ice cuts. So I mean, obviously, they run this club program as a Division I program, like a Division I program, so many years. So it's going to be there will be some differences, but for the most part, it's the same sort of thing. And there's going to probably be more to it with the NCAA rules, and there's going to probably be other promotions. We're also going to have this new building we're going to have to promote, and they're going to probably want to do different things pertaining to that. So we'll just have to figure it all out.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your time, and it's great to get the information from you.
Thanks a lot, Scott. And folks, if you want some more information about what's going on during the week on the ice at the Greenberg Ice Pavilion, or if you have some suggestions over the break for what you'd like to see, you can tweet Scott at ScootPSU. That's SCOOTPSU.
Yeah, I'm getting on Twitter right now and asking him where the PA announcers and the play-by-play guys are.
Yeah, well, someday we'll get our props. It could be coming after this break. And I'm just glad he's not sharpening my skates, by the way, too.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll see you in a few minutes right back here on the Hockey Valley Report.
Welcome back to the Hockey Valley Report. He's Steve Penstone, and I'm Rodney Martin. And as promised, we'll turn our attention to the number 10 ranked Penn State Lady Icers.
Well, since we were last in the studio, the Lady Icers traveled to Rhode Island, where they lost a couple of tough games, 2-1 in overtime and 3-1 the next day. And then the following weekend, the ladies faced off against NCAA Division III Newman University, and Rob Pedlow has the highlights from those games.
The Lady Icers were back in action to take on NCAA opponent the Newman Knights in their last game before the winter break. We picked this one up in the third period with the girls already down 2-0. Penn State forward Allie Rothman takes a shot, drives hard to the net, and draws a 5-minute major for unsportsmanlike conduct on the Newman defenseman. On the ensuing power play, Penn State captain Sarah Croman pulls the girls within one with plenty of time left in the power play to try to get the equalizer. However, the Newman penalty killers would manage to hold off the girls for the rest of the power play, and the Newman goaltender shut the door for the remainder of the game as Penn State loses another tight game with a final score of 2-1.
Heading into the winter break, the ladies are still ranked number 10 in the ACHA Division I poll with a season record of 4-6-3. Again, a lot of those losses coming against some really, really tough opponents.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Josh Brandwein says, certainly a good learning curve for the ladies. They've played some tough opponents, and unfortunately the results just have been on the losing side of things. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we will have the ice hockey bigwigs.
Bigwigs.
Who wrote that? Not me.
They must have wrote that.
Yeah, Director of Hockey Operations Bill Downey and Associate Athletic Director for Hockey Stuff Joe Battista join us after this. And welcome back. It is a pleasure to welcome to the studios the Director of Hockey Operations on the far right, my far right at least, Bill Downey, and Mr. Hockey himself, Joe Battista, the Associate Athletic Director for
We got in trouble with
Hockey
that
Stuff.
last time.
We did, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we can't call him Mr. Hockey. That's taken. But guys, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Before we get into the big news, obviously, Bill, you were with the team down in Liberty. A couple of good games. Obviously, the results. One bad one, one good one. But much like the Delaware weekend, the guys rebounded on Saturday with a big win after a really disappointing loss on Friday night.
Yeah, I think the key for the weekend, again, just like the Delaware weekend, is the lessons learned. Obviously, from preparation, there's some behind-the-scenes stuff that I think our players need to look a little deeper into and come with a little bit better mindset of playing a full 60 minutes, and the fact that the preparation doesn't start when you step on the ice. It's more of a day-long thing. I think as they get older, and I think some of the guys, obviously as we move to the Division I level that have any desire of playing after college, you don't have someone beating down your door and telling you what you have to do.
Yeah.
You have to take care of that on your own, and I think that's one of the things that I see Coach Godowski's done, and I know he's had a number of NHL players come out of his former school at Princeton, so I think he's always said, we'll give you the information, we'll tell you, what you can do to be successful, but ultimately it's going to be up to you to perform and prepare yourself to do that. So I think that's starting now, and it's actually something I think most of the players have bought into, but I think we still have a ways to go, and hopefully by March we'll have that taken care of.
Yeah.
But in the actual game, one of the things that you said on Friday night was you thought that the puck support wasn't there, and it seemed like the big difference between Friday and Saturday was that also, but also the game between the offensive dots. When the face-off dots, it seemed like everything in the neutral zone. You talked about the Rutgers weekend. He said one of your best neutral zone games of the year. As a matter of fact, that's what Coach Godowski said. It seemed like it was just the opposite on Friday.
Yeah, I think there were portions of the game where we did a little too much hoping instead of actually taking the game under our control. One of the things, like I said to Steve in game after the first period that night, was our puck support just wasn't what it needed to be. In weeks past, especially approaching the offensive blue line, we always had close middle support and then good middle drive to the net. That's something I think we got away from a little bit on Friday night, and it hurt us. Early in the game, we got up 2-0 by going to the net hard, scoring some goals that way. But even Paul Daly's goal, later in the game that night, it was another player, the guy going hard to the net, scoring a goal. All three of them were basically between Richie O'Brien's point shot. We have basically three guys right in front of the net for that one. So that's what scores your goals. So I think we did get away from that as well. And on Sunday we got back to it somewhat, but that's something we need to have consistent for 60 minutes.
Absolutely.
And the third period on Saturday, not Sunday, as you said, I'll correct you, but I thought the third period on Saturday was a good job of shutting them down completely.
Yeah, I think if you look at the shot totals from the game, we were hearing them, and I know I was actually communicating with you during the game, because it's nice at home when we're presented the shot chart for the period, but on the road we didn't get that this trip, so we had to rely on what they were keeping, and we're getting shot totals that are 13-12, and I think one period they actually had them out shooting us, and it didn't appear that way. So then we had our goaltender who actually keeps other stats on the bench. We had them track shots, so we knew exactly what we were getting into. And one of the things we realized was they were shooting the puck from just inside the red line, and anywhere on the ice they were trying to get pucks on net. And I thought PJ did a pretty good job of handling those. And if you want to count those shots, they are shots, but were they that threatening? I'm not quite sure.
All right, well let's get on to the big news that came before the Liberty weekend. Obviously, we're talking about the fact that Penn State will be playing NCAA Division III Newman University at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia as part of the NHL Winter Classic, and it's going to take place on January the 4th at 8 o'clock, and hopefully that'll be late enough in the day that it'll be nice and cold for a good outdoor hockey game. And Bill, Joe, tell us how it all came about.
Well, initially, Ed Snyder and Terry Pagula met and talked about it during a Flyers-Sabres game, and the idea came up, if the Flyers were indeed going to get awarded the game, what about Penn State being a part of it? Because Ed Snyder's a smart man, and he knows that there's a lot of Penn State alums in eastern Pennsylvania and central New Jersey and down in the Maryland area there and Delaware. So, and then from there it really became an effort with Joe Sheridan, one of our former players, and Bill Downey, a couple of former teammates, and Ben Boma was involved in it, and I played a smaller part. But at the end of the day, it was, kind of looked like it was going to happen. It wasn't, and that sort of thing. But I think there were some negotiations going on between the Phillies and the Flyers that kind of kept everything interesting for a while. Is that correct?
Yeah, we were kind of just waiting for a phone call with the ability to move forward with our negotiations, which also took some time. It's a long process nowadays with all the fine print involved. So I know I was talking to the athletic director, Chuck Sack, down at Newman, and I wrote him an email the other day, and I just said there's too many attorneys in the world. We're trying to get this moving forward.
He said that.
Yeah, I did say that.
Direct your comments to Bill Downey at.
So I was talking to him about that, and we had a good laugh on that. So it took time, but I think it was well worth it. And I think the players are really going to benefit the most from this. It'll be something they can carry with them for years to come. Great memory of playing here at Penn State.
Yeah. And before we move forward, I just want to make sure that we caught a Pittsburgh guy saying something good about
two Pittsburgh
guys saying something good about the owner of the Philadelphia Flyers. We got that on tape.
Hey, that's fine. No, it's fun. We went down and they hosted us at one of the games. Unfortunately, they took it on the chin the night we were there, 5-1 against the Capitals, who have struggled this year. And actually, the Flyers played very well. Their people have treated us great. Peter Luco, the president, he's got a son playing college hockey at Vermont, and I can't say that it would have definitely happened, but I think if our program timing's everything, maybe his son could have come played for us had this all happened a little earlier. Not to take anything away from Vermont, because that's a great program. It's where Tim Thomas played his college hockey. It's that's hockey territory up there. But it gets us pretty fired up, and I do want to thank the folks at Newman, Chuck Sachs, Dominic Dawes, their coach. They were very patient through all this and worked with us. And but really, the lion's share of the work was done by Joe Sheridan and Billy, and we're just glad it's done, that it's finalized, and I think we're all hoping for a nice, crisp winter day. Yeah. Because as you know, at that time of the year, anything can happen. In that area, of course, last couple of years they've gotten more snow than we have up here, and but we'll see. It's going to be exciting, and we're excited. And I hope the Penn State alums in that area will embrace this and show up in mass.
Well, yeah, you said Philadelphia. I think it's like you were mentioning. It's one of the largest Penn State alumni group in the country.
It is the largest.
The largest.
Yes. So there are more Penn State alums in the eastern Philadelphia area or Pennsylvania area than anywhere in the country. So certainly a chance for us to showcase the program a little bit, and I still dream of the day when we'll be able to play an outdoor game in Beaver Stadium, and we're the only stadium out there that can probably ever break the world record held by Michigan in the Big House. And, we can. We'll wait a few years till that happens.
So should we say the luxury box door will be open when we're down there? If anybody wants to come in and talk.
Yeah, we'll take all suggestions, bidders, gifts, etc.
Joe, you coached when the team played Washington and Jefferson at the Igloo, and had a good crowd for that game that night. I recall that. And Billy, I talked to you on Friday night at Liberty about preparing the team to play there, and the wow factor, and how you kind of counteract that, where the guys are concentrating on hockey and not on coming out and looking at the surroundings and golly gee, I can't believe I'm here type of thing. What did you do at the Igloo, and what are you going to do for the guys this year?
Hey, you pull out the old Hoosiers tape, get the measure. It's the same sheet ice. Doesn't matter. That's we don't need anybody going Hollywood on us. Don't get caught up in all the distractions. Just stay focused, on what's happening. But you can say that all you want.
Yeah.
There is going to be a certain adjustment to when you go out there, because you can't help it. For a hockey player, I can't imagine too many more exciting things than to be able to go out on that ice in that environment and under the lights.
And like you say, hopefully on a nice night.
Yeah, and certainly, but they got to get out of that pretty quick and get back to getting to work. And I've seen the team, and I listened to the games this weekend, and this is a team that has to learn how to put the fork in a team when it's got it done. And I'll let Billy comment on that. So.
Well, I will say it's for the venue, preparing for that, it's a little easier said than done. I can remember playing in that game.
Yeah, you did. That's right.
Done it when we played W&J, and we gave up a nice shorthanded goal with all 5 of our guys on the power play below the dots. So I watched a breakaway skating back up ice for one of their players. So we obviously, I think.
Notice I didn't bring that up.
Yeah. Wow. I think.
If you could remember it, Joe, that would be amazing.
Thanks.
For somebody that likes to score goals, I think every one of our players that night were just hoping we could raise our hands and know that we scored a goal that night. But it gets back to what I was saying earlier about the preparation factor. I think you got to put the onus on the players somewhat to be somewhat professional in their approach to it, and come ready to go, no matter if we're playing in a rink where there's crickets chirping and that's the only thing in the building, or if it's 10,000 fans or 20,000, whatever it's going to be. I hope that they prepare properly and take some time over the break to do that as well.
Is there going to be any? Because you can't. I don't know that you're just going to hop on the ice. Is there going to be any team skate that day? Are you going to have a chance to practice on the rink? Or?
No, honestly the demand for the ice time while they have it up is pretty high. Obviously, the NHL has to get all their events in, and
and there's a high school game earlier that day.
Right before us.
There's actually two games. There's a game at 5 p.m. between 2 rivals, LaSalle College High School, and then Malvern Prep, who are basically 2 of the top teams in the Philly area at the high school level. So they're going to be playing, and then also at 2 p.m. the Hill School in Lawrenceville are going to play as well.
Well, let's move on to the other bit of big news, of course, and that's going to be the expected groundbreaking for the Pegula Ice Arena, scheduled for February. Where is that standing, and is it everything on schedule?
Yes, we just got back from a meeting with the Pegulas in Buffalo, and then we had some subsequent meetings back here. Billy and I went up with Marv Bevan, who's our project manager, and we were able to get the grand tour of behind the scenes of the brand new Sabres locker room and workout room and all their physical therapy areas, that sort of thing, and just get your kind of juices flowing even more when you get to walk through there and see it. It gave us some good ideas, and we're gonna
Kind of gives you the itch to play again, and then you go over and you see Jason Pominville warming up, and you realize why you're not playing.
Yeah, we were watching him do this. He's working in this rapid shot, which is a synthetic ice, and it's a shooting, training room, and I'm watching him, his accuracy on it was. I just said, my goodness, this is amazing. That these guys, were able to shoot that quickly, that accurately, and it was fun watching that. But yes, we're actually ahead of schedule in a lot of respects, and we've got to wait for the official go ahead from the January 20th Board of Trustees meeting, and but in the meantime, everything is gearing up that we're ready to get started.
Now, that to a lot of people, that seems kind of like a disconnect. You're talking about seeing all these really neat features of like the Buffalo Sabres locker room and everything. It's like our plans are not set yet. You're saying like you're giving you a lot of ideas, but we're still breaking ground. And oh, by the way, we're going to be playing in this in like 16 or 18 months after we start breaking ground. So it's pretty amazing that even now it seems like there's little things, little finer details of where things might go, and it's still going to go together.
And that will actually, Rodney, change, the graphics packages and what type of carpet. And you have an idea now. We have a base idea of what we can do, and then as the building takes shape, depending on how much we have to spend on excavation, if it's more than we're planning on, some things will have to come out of the building. If it's less, we get to put more of the bells and whistles back in. But right now, what we're looking at is going to be outstanding. And, we've worked hard, and we continue to work hard. We're scheduled to actually start digging February 10th. But you'll actually see some work around that area in preparation for that. Fencing will go up. The trailers for the construction management firm. So that's all starting to take place, but we don't get to proceed until the Board of Trustees gives us the green light. So,
anything that might throw an amber light or a red light in on that?
I don't think so at this point. I mean, you never say never.
Right.
The nice thing about this facility is, it's 100% funded with private funding. The Pagulas and some others that have donated those funds. So unlike other facilities that might come from different funding sources, this one's 100% private funding. So
well, the excitement level is just going to keep growing and growing.
We just came from some open houses showing the figure skating community and the youth hockey and the adult hockey folks, and you're trying not to over smile. I mean, my jaw hurts. I can't wait.
Well, I don't think you stopped smiling.
No.
Since September 2010.
Yeah.
So.
Joel, Billy, thanks for coming in, and we could sit here and talk all night about this,
Yes,
or for several nights in a row.
Yes, we
but,
could.
As I say, we'll have you back as things progress, and Billy, we'll have you back talking about the season as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll reiterate. It was a pleasure having you on the show. And I'm sure, again, like Steve said, we'll have you back on the shows whenever we can, as soon as we can. And if there's any question that you have out there, you can email the show's producer through our website. And with that, we'll be right back.
If you have a question for Bill or for Joe or anybody on the team, we'll be happy to pass them on and get a response. And we will take a break and be back with more. This is the Hockey Valley Report. Well, it's been a good season so far for the Penn State ice hockey programs, and the only thing harder than waiting to open our gifts on Christmas Day, provided we do get some, is waiting for the Icers to get back on the ice.
I know there's not going to be any coal in my stocking.
Okay.
But there's going to be a lot going on while the boys are at home with their families over break, and you can follow along at PennStateHockey.com for the most up-to-date information from the hockey office.
And you can also follow the official Twitter feeds of both the men's and women's programs, appropriately named at PSU Men's Hockey and at PSU Women's Hockey. Get the updates and views from the booth following my Twitter feeds at IcersMan, and Hockey Valley producer Vince Chandler is at Vinny Chant with a T.
With a T.
Not a D.
It's absolutely important to stay connected when there's nothing on the ice. So.
And we are looking forward to reviewing the Icers' appearance as part of the NHL's Winter Classic at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Don't forget that is January the 4th at 8 o'clock. On behalf of our producer, Vince Chandler, I want to take this opportunity to wish everybody a happy holiday season. And remember to check out PennStateHockey.com for more information, additional clips, and everything hockey related for Penn State. You can email the show at hockeyvalleyreport@gmail.com. I'm Steve Penstone.
And I'm Rodney Martin. And for our special guests, Billy Downey and Joe Battista, and all our crew here at the Hockey Valley Report, we hope to see you next time right here in Innovation Park, and we'll see you in January. Until then, have a great holiday and be safe on this New Year's.